So you have to be very, very, what's the word? Damn it. Flexible, there we go. Flexible. So you have to be very, very flexible. I forgot my point. Oh, sorry. You have to be very flexible because things didn't go to plan. So, you know, you don't stop and stall, you go on. Welcome to my show. I'm Tim Kertscher, and today is the second video I have ever made on YouTube. And if you're back, wow, thanks a bunch. And today actually has been one of the most requested things, or requested topics in my last video. Everyone was asking for it. So today I will actually copy or cover for you what my previous startup was, and particularly I want to tell you a bit about the experience that I've had. And to do that, I will cover a few topics, in particular what Linkfish was about, my startup, why I stopped it, and whether, you know, the mistakes that have happened actually taught me anything in the first place. And a little bonus at the end, and the bonus would be, would I do it again, or would I recommend you to do it? There's one more thing that I want you to understand in this entire topic of, you know, how to start your own YouTube channel, and this is my second video and so forth. I have right here my computer, and my computer has notes, and these notes I have to read because, well, I don't have a teleprompter, and even if I did have one, I would most likely screw it up anyway. In any case, what I'm using to write my scripts and these quotes, it's called Notion. I'll link that down below. It's free if you want to use it, and it has quite the cool tips and tricks up its sleeve. So, to start all of this off, I want to talk about my previous startup. And as already before mentioned, it's called, or was called, Linkfish. And what Linkfish did was basically aim to give students discounts, and in return give customers, companies like local food shops or big online commerce stores the access to these students as a target audience. But what really happened was a lot more than that. So I want to give you a little insight on that. If you ever want to check it out, it is still live, but it is not live as it was back in the day. Let's start off with the problems and mistakes that I've made with Linkfish. And to not make this very long, there were a couple of things. I actually misunderstood the market. I didn't know what the students actually wanted, although I did my research on it. And the sales were extremely difficult because companies didn't seem to really understand the concept that we were building. You know, student discounts. It was, don't ask me. The second thing that happened was I got a co-founder because everyone told me to get one. And at the time I didn't know better, and I thought, hey, I had this advisor, let me take him as my co-founder, ask him, and actually get started. I thought, you know, he had some experience in startups, and so he said yes, and we went for it. But it didn't really go that way. In fact, it cost me most of my money to have him in my company, and second of all, he tore me down like hell. He basically thought or made me feel I was worth nothing, and he was worth everything, which was simply not true. I was doing 100% of the business all the time. And it ended up that we split. And the third thing was the cash. The cash, it's always the cash. But yeah, I was inexperienced. The reason I got my co-founder is because I was so inexperienced in what I was doing. So I hoped he would actually help me in these things like, you know, cash flow, where to spend money, how to spend it properly. And that didn't happen. So what happened is I spent it on the wrong things. You know, too much in technology, too little in marketing. I had to figure out where to go with it. But there was one particular thing that really annoyed me with the cash situation, and that was, it drove me nuts because of the mismanagement, I guess. At some point I needed to figure out how to make money, not to innovate or grow, but rather to actually pay everyone in the business. So to summarize all the problems and mistakes at this point, we had a very hard market to deal with, which I couldn't please the market at that point. I had a co-founder that didn't really help me at all, right? I had no money in the bank eventually, mismanagement of cash, and the fourth point was I was by myself the entire time, and eventually all of this does rattle you a little bit. Anyway, all of this sounds really bad, but that is because I was inexperienced, and I want to make this very clear. If you're not experienced in running a business, you will probably face similar problems. Even big companies face these problems where they misunderstand the market, and there's just a lot of trial and error. Not every. And I just want you to be aware of this when you actually do start your own business, that you need a lot of strength for these things, especially if you plan it to grow big and you've never done that before. So what were the lessons that I've learned from this? Quite a few. Number one, understand the market. Understand your market that you want to go into, in fact. And the way you can do this is to really, really work on the questions you have for them. I assume that one of my mistakes with the market was I asked the wrong questions. I asked questions like, hey, would you like to have a service like this? Would you be interested in saving some money? Do you currently use these things? But the thing is, I think you just need to ask better questions. Dwell down to when they need it, if they need it, but not directly. Right? Try to figure it out through a bit more qualitative research, and you save yourself a lot of hassle and trouble later on. Second thing, be careful with your co-founder. If you do ever plan to get a co-founder, please be aware that this is a marriage. You will be in this for a long time. So pick carefully. Obviously, you can't always be sure 100% of the time about this person, but you can at least try to say, hey, if I would have married this person, would I do that? Do I know the flaws? Can I live with them? Because you will need to. And the fourth thing is, that's a really good one actually, you can do way more than you think. So when I had my co-founder, he basically always made me feel like I was worth nothing, like I couldn't do anything. But the matter of the fact is, I did everything, literally everything. I learned to design everything, to build and communicate projects, the entire development situation, and I had no experience in it, none. Obviously didn't work out perfectly, and I spent it on wrong things, but I did learn so much that if I would not have been so overwhelmed with everything, I would have been able to do this a lot better. So don't let anyone talk you down. You can do it, because I was able to do it, and I'm just a normal human being, just like for this video. And the last thing is, trust me when I tell you, things do not go to plan. Never. Well, not never, but most of the time. You have to be very flexible, because things don't go to plan. So, you don't stop and stall, you go on. So, to the question of should you do it? A bit more complicated, to be honest, because you have to be made for it. You have to be crazy enough to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to not sleep for a while, basically, or not see my friends for a while. If you really want to go for it, and you have to have the right people for it, go step by step, and just try to minimize as much risk beforehand, because later they will be even more painful, such as market research, asking the wrong questions, and figuring out that the market is actually not wanting to have your products. Yeah, that's something I would say. So thank you very much for turning up to this video. You're freaking awesome. Thank you so much. I know it was a bit of a tryst video, and by any means it's not perfectly structured, because, well, it's my second video, but I tried to do it a bit more in this matter, and I hope to see you in the next video. And whilst you wait, please feel free to type in the comment section below if you have any questions about my startup that I didn't cover at this point, because I tried to keep it a bit shorter, and I would be happy to either answer it in that comment or in the next video. So, with this said, I wish you an absolute fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's go!